There's Junior, aka Little Terrace. Here we are, Wanaka. Can't really fault it on a good day. Snow on the mountains. Come up from West Coast, got into Wanaka, even a little house truck, had a little house van over there, and people having a little paddle around. And I went out last night, and it was quite, the night before we actually last, and it was quite strange because it sort of reminded me of what Wanaka was like when I first used to come to Wanaka in the 1980s with my father, and there was just a dairy and one restaurant and a couple of quiet hotels, and there wasn't really a lot going on after 7 o'clock, and Wanaka sort of had that same feeling, like it was plenty of tourists around, but they had nowhere to go. Virtually everything was shut. And, you know, when I went in, I went to have a rest food at Lake Ranch. I got in late, so all I had was chicken and chips. And I waited about 25 minutes for his chicken and chips, and I turned around, the guy said, "Oh, you know, mate, have you seen my chicken and chips? Are you plucking the chicken?" "Oh, no, mate, it's all right, mate. Well, I've just been plated up the bear in just a second." And I waited another 10 minutes, and I walked into the little bay area to see what was going on, and there's the chef flirting away with one of the waitresses, and he's got his ass on the fucking food preparation counter, doing absolutely fucking nothing. And, you know, I sort of, well, and I sort of gave him not a racket, but just said, "Oh, mate, you know, where's my food?" You could see he felt really sort of like, you know, put upon for how dare that a customer should want their food. So I thought, you know what, I've not got to risk taking this person's food. I don't want these people handing my food now. I don't trust what they're going to do to it. So I walked out of there, and that's just said the lakefront there, and said, "You know, thanks for the chicken and chips. They were really fucking awesome. $14 for chicken and chips." And went home and ate 2-minute noodles because that was all that was in my pack. And, you know, so I found myself thinking about the tourism situation, which is going, they're having a great deal of trouble getting people to work. Partly it's because, again, they want it both their ways. And not all cases, but in many cases it's like they want them to work, but they're not actually willing to offer them guaranteed full 40 hours. And, you know, it's quiet, then they don't work. So who would go and work for that, you know? But it was also the whole thing of what really struck me was, you know, what was that young guy in the kitchen was, it wasn't his fault. It was the fact that there was no bosses on board. All these people that own corporate-based restaurants, and there's no captains working the floor, so the kitchen mice are doing whatever you want to do when the cat's up to. There's no pride in their work, and there's no standards, but there's no one teaching them or showing them the way, because, you know, they've got to the point where they're just used to having it fat asses and being complacent. And a lot of these businesses, to be quite frankly, in terms of the corporate end, who seem to be leading the charge for, you know, they'll be the ones to make the grab the biggest lion's share, they deserve to go under. Because, you know, pretty much, well, it's this whole thing of like, oh yeah, well, great, but the government's restrictions, like, well, actually, government restrictions are true, fair enough, but, you know, if you're running a crap business and you're just expecting to get the cream all the time because that's what you've got used to, well, you know, hard enough. Drink a cup of concrete, thank you very much. Most of the places I've been around, last night I went up to La La Land, which is where I was here 2015. Nice bartender, but, you know, when I went to ask him, you know, I have about one cocktail a freaking year, and I ended up with a White Russian, which is not really a cocktail in a glass, and that was pretty much the limitations, but he was a good guy. He was, you know, he talked to us and, you know, was a good person, but again, for an upmarket cocktail, you expect people to jump on a plane and fly all the way here and get subservice people with not actually great product knowledge. This is called setting us up to fail. So the tourists arrive, but we don't have any of the infrastructure and none of the training in place. Good one, guys. You know, you just anyway. So that was standing in a pretty horrific morning this morning. Anything technological you can imagine could go wrong, and then the landlord Derek at the Alpine Lodge up on 7 Ardmore Street, Wanaka. Really lovely guys, great room, very, very nice staff. And then, you know, he said I see that lady over there. He said, you know, she's holidaying with her mum, and her mum's got about 6 months to live. And they're just having one last holiday because they know that she's not going to be around in 6 months' time. And, you know, it suddenly put all those little first world problems suddenly become rapidly into perspective. And it's like looking about at those, hello, Mr. Seagull, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. How's that for synchronicity? But, you know, those mountains, at the end of the day, they don't really give that much of a rat's ass about the human race. We will be here and gone in the flash of an eye, and those mountains will still be here. And sometimes we get wrapped up in our own heads and we think what we do is so bloody important. You've got a little terrorist creeping up from behind me. Damn it. It's just like training terrorists, really, isn't it? And so, yeah, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we do need to keep ourselves in perspective sometime. This is Wanaka, which, whatever is happening with the corporate tourism sector, has always been a lovely place. It's one step slower than Queenstown, which I'm going to Queenstown tonight, which it's not actually my favourite place in the world, because I just find it always wraps up my, you know, my inner chirk, the bit that gets me all hyper and busy. Queenstown doesn't seem to bring out the best in that, so I generally keep a big wide berth of it. Very exciting place, but you know, you get the older you get, the more you start to realise that excitement's overrated. And Wanaka's always been that sort of, got a nice little family feel, and even, you know, the idea that maybe that the restaurants do shut at 10 o'clock and so on is not such a bad idea, but you know, and during the daytime, I mean, you can't beat it. So that's my little rant for today, and I will be heading off to Queenstown to drop off magazines, and then we'll be heading off to Southland Times. Not Southland Times, I'm heading off to Riverton, which we've got an advert in the Southland Times appearing tomorrow, Saturday morning. And all we have to do is make sure I'm on the bus, we're slowly sorting for the crisis. We haven't quite got through that one yet. And then we'll be heading to Dunedin, and then we'll be heading back to Christchurch, but performing in Kaikoura, through to Nelson, into the West Coast, back to Christchurch to perform at the Wonderbar, and then finish up in December the 4th at the Cafe in the Picton. We've got a really good interview coming up this week on Fresh FM, so we'll be doing that with probably Matt, the station engineer / acting station manager, who will be doing a little talk to me about my tour. We've probably got Dean Campbell from Kororoi Radio is also going to talk to us. So far we've had Captain Cornflakes, the corniest fires in the space. He's done a very good show on the kids program. We've had the Grey Star, who've done a really nice piece for us, and the GB Thinker. So the promo's coming along quite nicely. We had to cancel yesterday's show in Wanaka because of technical issues. I wasn't actually upset about that at all. I needed a bit of downtime, a bit of planning time. The show's so far been absolutely running pretty bloody well, and we just need to kick it up a gear and just, you know, get a bit more the word out there. So we've been promoting that today, and we'll continue to do so and just get bigger and bigger. Well, not bigger and bigger, more importantly, better and better. Okay, bazinga. And again, still haven't worked out my hand signals.